this. Okay, gotcha. All right, it's time to go. Is that true? It is. Apple time. Please rise for the pledge, everyone. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Yep, go ahead. You can pull it, Christopher Sarah's just open up with some remarks.
Well, we will start by welcoming 15 fantastic students here from Delaware Valley, Lake Wallenpaupack, and East Stroudsburg North High Schools for our first annual Youth Leadership Summit. Congratulations and hello, everybody. Glad to have you. And also to the staff who are chaperoning these children to make sure they get back on time and in one piece. Just quickly, we'll talk about her a little later, but this day was inspired by Miss Ariel Biggs, who's seated in the second row there. She was sworn in this January as Pennsylvania's Youth Commissioner. And I thought that was outstanding. Never heard of it before, and I look forward to hearing a little more about that. But for now, we'll get on with the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, so the first item here is motion to recess the commission of the meeting to hold a retirement board meeting. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Call the retirement board meeting to order. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 18th, 2026 agenda. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the January 21st, 2025 minutes. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Under new business, motion to approve the refunds and contributions to employees no longer with the county, and there are 5 individuals listed. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following deferred retirement, and there's 1 person listed. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following retirements, there's 1 person listed. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the retirement board meeting. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the commissioners meeting. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first item we have on the agenda is, are there any public comments, questions concerning today's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to number 1, motion to approve the February 18th, 2026. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 4th, 2026 meeting minutes. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 11th, 2026 conference minutes. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the payment from the general fund, the county bills, in the amount of $1,426,095.73. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the payment from the bridge repair fund, in the amount of $1,500. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from the Pike County Employees Health Insurance Fund, in the amount of $92,285.12. Motion.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve exonerations is presented by Gina Rios, Tax Claim Bureau Director, for 42 properties sold out of the county repository between November and December 2025. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Under personnel, motion to hire Carson Trelovic as a part-time facility assistant at the Public Safety Department for less than 1,000 hours per year, effective February 23rd, 2026. This is a replacement position. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to hire Raymond Ardenoli as a per diem tip staff court crier with the court effective February 17, 2026. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recess the commissioners meeting to hold a salary board meeting. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to convene the salary board. Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the 2026 reorganization meeting, January 5th, January 14th, February 4th, and February 3rd, 2026 salary board minutes. Motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to set the hourly rate of Carson Trelovic at $15 per hour as a part-time facility assistant at the Public Safety Department for less than 1,000 hours per year, effective February 23rd, 2026. Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to set the hourly rate of Raymond Ardennoy at $83.85/$95.14 per PM. What does that mean?
It's for tip staff and work criers.
Okay, all right, just so as tip staff and court crier with court effective February 17th, 2026. Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the salary board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the commissioners meeting. Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2604, designation of an agent for the hazard mitigation grant program.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following human service payment vouchers on behalf of the Office of Human Services Homeless Assistance Program in the amount of $4,267.49, and Human Services Development Fund in the amount of $12,860.13.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recommend the reappointment of Dr. Jennifer Pesenti to the Board of Directors of the NEPA Alliance for the new fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2026.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recommend the reappointment of Annabeth Acker to the Board of Directors of the NEPA Alliance for the new fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2026.
Is that a reappointment or
Reappointment.
she was there for?
Yeah, I don't know if she was a reappointment. I think it should just be appointed. You're right, she's from Green Bank. Right?
Yep.
She was
It's a
replacing,
reappointment.
That's
Okay.
she was on there?
The board members from the county whose terms are expiring, Dr. Jennifer and then
Okay.
I thought it was somebody else from the bank. Okay, well, anyway, so there's a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then we go to miscellaneous, as we do at every meeting. We list the Penn State Extension calendar of events, and then I believe we have maybe, Jill, you're gonna speak to this?
Yes.
We have Jill there, Maloney here, to speak about the Outdoor Sports Expo, Saturday, May 21st, on behalf of State Representative Olson.
Mark.
March 21st. I'm all right.
Yes, we're having an outdoor expo. This is our first year having this. We have a little over 30 vendors coming. We have all kinds of different things that'll be there, but it'll be at the West Hall Fire Department on Saturday, March 21st from 9 to noon. And I'll leave some flyers up front.
Okay.
Thanks, Jill.
All right. Now, we'll just hand this over to Commissioner Caceres for the recognition of Ariel Biggs, Pennsylvania Youth Commissioner.
Very exciting. So I want to just read a little bit that I've learned about her thus far, and then we have a certificate to present to you. Ariel Biggs, a Youth Leadership Advisory Board student ambassador and student at East Stroudsburg North High School, was selected as Pennsylvania Youth Commissioner. She was sworn in on Saturday, January 10th, 2026 at 11 a.m. The Pennsylvania Youth Commissioner serves as a voice for young people across the Commonwealth, advising state leaders on youth priorities, elevating youth perspectives in civic and service initiatives, and helping to shape policies and programs that impact young people. In this role, Ariel will collaborate with state partners and community organizations to strengthen youth engagement, service learning, and leadership development across Pennsylvania in partnership with PennServe. Ariel's appointment is the result of her outstanding leadership and reflection demonstrated through Youth Infusion's BASIS curriculum, I'll save the long definition, a core component of the Youth Leadership Advisory Board program. Ariel earned this opportunity after winning the Reflections Essay Benchmark, where she thoughtfully examined her service learning experience and its impact. Through this reflection, she was identified and a youth commissioner at PennServe. And I have a quote about her, but before that, Ariel's growth as a leader was powerfully on display when she took the stage at the NEPA Youth-Led Leadership Conference, where she shared her journey and advocacy efforts to improve communication between school administrators and students. By speaking up for herself and her peers, Ariel demonstrated the impact of youth voice, and it was heard. Quote, Ariel represents everything we hope to cultivate through the Youth Leadership Advisory Board program, said Elika Almeida, Executive Director of Youth Infusion. She found her voice, used it with purpose, and created change, not just for herself, but for her peers and her school community. Her appointment as Pennsylvania Youth Commissioner is a powerful reminder that when we invest in young people and truly listen to them, they rise as leaders and change makers. So on behalf of the Pike County Commissioners and we will come up to take a photo with you. We would like to present you with a certificate and congratulate you on your appointment. You want to say a few words?
Sure.
Okay.
Please.
So yeah, as explained, as youth commissioner, I am basically just an advocate for the youth. So in any community throughout Pennsylvania, if there are any issues, I take it to the higher ups and I basically work with them to try and find a solution.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So once again, the purpose for bringing these students together, the real reason why we wanted to have them come, and it was inspired by Ms. Biggs, is because we're concerned as commissioners and just concerned as older folks in the county that our young people leave. They want to leave. They can't wait to get out of here after graduation because the career opportunities, you know, in their minds are small and they don't really see a future. So we're going to invite these esteemed minds to have some pizza and salad with us, and we'll have a brief discussion about their hopes and dreams and hopefully convince some of you guys to stay. And we have some direct
The Pennsylvania State Police, Milford Fire Department, PA, Pennsylvania, Pike County District Attorney's Office, and there were approximately a dozen residents removed.
Protective Service Department. They responded to Belle Reve and identified some very concerning issues that were going on there. And then I'm going to let the solicitor now tell you what happened after that. But the role of the county was performed. That's what happens. We are notified when these type of issues occur. It was an anonymous complainer, or complaint, I should say, and we had to react, and we did. And then I think it's best because now the state is involved in this, and Tom can let Tom explain this, because this is a sensitive thing. We need to respect the fact that there's family members down there. We did our role, and now at this point we need to let the process go through as to why it occurred and what's going to happen moving forward. Tom?
Okay. What happened is there was a complaint made to Area on Aging, and even though it's anonymous, a complaint is a complaint. And we want people, if they see something that doesn't seem proper to them, for an elderly person, to make that complaint. That was done. Area on Aging responded with staff, and based on what their observations were, they called the emergency management and ambulances, and approximately 14 people were removed at that point. And there is still an ongoing investigation and determine what the next steps are by Area on Aging and the state. So that I'm not going to get into until I understand what the next steps will be and what takes place. But I will tell you that all 14 were properly cared for. Everyone in the county responded spectacularly. They showed up as required, they showed their interest, they helped with the moving of the patients, and everybody cooperated fully. So at this point, the next question is the 14, how many, if any, go back? And also address any other concerns. But at this point, I can tell you that all 14 are in fine care, and the investigation is still going on, and that investigation I am not willing to discuss any further at this point.
Can you say whether it's criminal investigation?
We don't know that.
I don't know that. That you need to talk to the DA on that. That's his fault.
I think it's really early to make any of these decisions. I think it is important to note that the decision to move them out for the the health-related issues was made by the ambulance personnel, by the medical personnel that showed up on scene and saw the conditions of the individuals there and said that they felt they needed further evaluation at a hospital. That's who made those decisions. It wasn't something that was made by county employees or anybody. It was done by trained professionals who saw the situation and felt they were doing, and they did do the right thing, my understanding is. So I think we just have to be patient here, let this play out. Thank God people identified it, and right now those individuals are safe and being cared for.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. All right, next.
This is public comment, right?
It is.
Okay, I thought I missed it. So I just need to get an update on the Restore the Star. Where are we?
Well, we're on that with the National Park. I speak to him. They are working diligently on coming up with a solution. That's all I can tell you on that. I talked to them. We need to, the federal government is a slow-moving process. We need to be patient with them. And I am very patient with them. I've been doing this a long time. I know not to push them, because if you push them too hard, they will just close the door and you can't talk to them. So I speak to them, maybe not every week, but quite a bit I speak to them.
So is getting a special use permit a different process when you go through NPS as it would be, say, Milford Township, Milford Borough?
Yes,
that
it's
seems
federal.
to be a quick process.
Well, maybe in Milford Township it is, and maybe in Milford Borough it is, maybe here in the county it is, but when we're dealing with the federal government is a fast process. So we need to be patient with the gentlemen that are in charge down there, the men and women that are in charge in this national park. I know they were working towards it. They are. They are not ignoring it.
Well, we were hoping to get this done at least by the 250th anniversary.
You and me both.
Yeah, but it looks like we're going to be right there for the 300th anniversary. So
May we live that long.
I'm the eternal optimist, so. Else.
We need to identify for the
Yeah.
record.
Okay?
Hi, my name is Kevin Holian, Damon Township. I'm a second homeowner, which means I don't physically reside here in Pike County. I'm a retired federal employee, so I was one of those slow-moving individuals, especially at the senior executive level. But I tried my best. I wasn't going to come here today until I heard that this young lady has been appointed the Pennsylvania Youth Commissioner. In the last several meetings of the commissions here, we've discussed a Milford farmers market. We discussed ICE detainees at our Pike County Correctional Facility. And recently in the news, a large discussion on the loss of a lot of first responders, what we call volunteer firefighters, volunteer EMTs. Believe it or not, once I was a youth. I know it's hard to believe. I dedicated my entire life. These three commissioners, whether we agree with them or disagree with them, have done a lot of good activities to sustain Pike County. What I mean by sustaining Pike County is establishing and running departments that you'll probably hear about later. Veterans Affairs, Fund of Aging, obviously taxation and assessment, and many, many more. A key takeaway I hope that the youth here today have, and I see one individual in the audience, him and his wife are great examples of it, is to spend a part of your life, your future, volunteering and donating to your community. Albeit, we have two Republicans and a Democrat. Yeah, I think all three of them believe in this. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Just drop the R and say county or community or whatever. Within yourselves to say, okay, I need to provide for myself and my family. The only way I can provide for myself and my family is if I do something to keep a good, strong community. You know, these three individuals, we might argue, well, okay, you're trying to maintain a good tax base and not increase taxes by having ICE detainees come into our correctional facility. But it's a revenue source. It's a revenue source. Likewise, with the farmers market. I initially disagreed with the recommendations and the decisions of our commissioners, yet at the same time, I respect and understand the concept of having a strong brick and mortar tax base within any county, any community. So thank you very much for being here today. God bless you in your commitment. And please, the dedication and feelings that you have, Ariel, Ms. Biggs, today, let it become almost like a pandemic, but a good epidemic in the sense of spreading your thoughts and your beliefs and your commitments and your dedication. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Others?
Hi, I have one question.
State your name, please.
Jill Gardina. With all the data centers that have been built all across Pennsylvania and Trump and Senator McCormick want to build more, are there any plans in Pike County to build any?
Well, none that we have heard of, and just so you know, those type of requests, though, are going to go first to the municipal level, because they're the ones who deal with the zoning. That would be a zoning question. County commissioners don't have, we have not heard of any of that being proposed here in Pike County.
I will say, there is an event happening March 4th at the training center, the Pike County Training Center. This is the Penn State Extension. They're putting this on based on our request. And in part, it'll be an AI discussion, and also a discussion on data centers. Because the point of it was exactly what you're raising, to make sure that all the municipality leaders had an opportunity to come and kind of get some just neutral, unbiased information on what the impact of these data centers can be, both pros and cons. So you're welcome. March 4th.
Yeah, they would like people to register to do that. And some of the townships I know have already either entertained ordinances or have already passed ordinances with certain guidance on it, because they can't outlaw them, but they can put certain, and I don't know which ones, but I believe Lehman has already, and I know if Dingman has or not, I know, but you see it in the paper, townships are talking about it, and we just felt, as the commissioner said, to have this educational center, but also for AI, because that's coming forward too. So we need to educate everybody on it. Okay? Anyone else?
Hi. Isabel Smith from Jehovah. I just like to correct something for the record. I know last week when we were discussing trying to use the courthouse for public rallies and meetings, we were given the reason that the steps were there because of their historical value and the bluestone and the wear and tear. I just want to remind people that the bluestone in New York City sidewalks is the same bluestone that we have on the courthouse steps. So I think it's kind of a bogus answer. The other one was that there are candles. There are no candles allowed in Pike County borough hall. So I just want to make sure that people understand that this is a little bit of a flippant reason for why the courthouse steps cannot be used for a rally, because it helps amplify and have people be able to hear people when they're on the steps. So it makes it much harder for rallies to occur here. So I just wanted that for the record.
Thank you for your comment.
Anyone else?
Hi, Tamara Chan, Milford Borough. Carry on with that idea about people being raised up. First of all, Reverend Jackson, who passed away just recently, talked about hope. And it became something very important to me, and I know a lot of people. So the point is, I just wanted to ask a question of the commissioners. Is there a hope that the farmers market could come back to the same space, that it was elegantly and perfectly placed? And is there also a process of all farmers market that are coming together, different footage is coming together to, and conversations that we've had with all the farmers that are present and that have come to meetings last night at the borough, of everything that they stand for, the amount of income they make. Also the quotes that were said to me by individuals that hold a lot of property in town as to wanted to rid that due to things like vodka being sold, although
Okay, I just didn't want you to
I'm
compete
sorry.
with the, no, it's fine.
sorry,
Go ahead, no.
that just to quote, I don't know why anybody thinks that's my bread and butter. Having a half member really beautiful farms. He has spent a lot of time working to work with his committee, and he was extremely surprised when, as the norm is, very casually, which has become the way it is between the commissioners and the send in our lease again. I came to find out abruptly that there was no ahead of time discussion with all the members, neither the public, about something that they do regularly every Sunday, like everyone goes to church or whatever else they do. They go to the market to gather, to buy, to support, to enjoy. Kids, dogs, safe, not and how that we could speak about it. Thank you.
Okay. An eviction. I stand by the letter that the editor I wrote, and that's just our opinion. So I have no inclination to allowing it back here. I'm not telling you, as is in that press release or that letter to the editor, I'm opposed to them. I'm opposed to how they operate completely, okay? And if they're going to be located within the borough or someplace else, that is, I'm not gonna go out there and protest where they're gonna be. They can do whatever they want. I just don't feel that it's a county property to be doing this, so that's just my opinion on it. So the process is the process. They send in a request, as they've done every year, so they want to call it abrupt. They sent in a letter and said, is our lease going to be renewed? And we said, no. So it was not an eviction. Eviction is if they had a legal right to the property and we went out there on a Sunday and marched them off the property, correct? Right? We did not. We just did not renew the lease. And I stand by that.
I have one further point. I think last meeting you said that for 3 or 4 years you've been disgruntled. Can I ask why a commissioner would wait that long?
Because I wanted to see if it would change. And you saw what was in there, what I disagree with the way the farmers market operates. Okay, I have a strong opinion about protecting brick and mortar. I don't want to go into this all again. We've already done this 3 weeks ago. We put our opinion in the paper. We've decided on it. We've sent a letter to them. All 3 of us sent a letter saying that the lease is not renewed, and they're going to Key Food, and that's fine. I'm not saying that I don't want them. I have no say in where they go. They can go someplace else in the borough if they so choose. I don't know what was discussed last night at the borough meeting. I wasn't there, but it's a decision that they have to make. They used to be at the Columns. For some reason, the Columns didn't want them back either. Okay, I don't know why, and it's not my position to ask the Columns why they don't want them back. But I'm sorry you don't agree with me, or agree with us.
Maybe that is just my desire, and I understand.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Kevin Pauline again. I won't go up, but in light of this chance comment, I'm not going to delve into ramifications. I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, for public gathering permit policy that was drafted by our commissioners several years ago. And in it, I think on page 2 or 3, we discussed the path of denial. You know, the permit or the allocation will be denied for, I think, 1 or 2 different reasons. Would or could the commissioners possibly, on behalf of the community, consider reestablishing or rewriting that policy? That when I read it personally, I don't fully hear from our elected a reason that applies to that policy. So I believe as citizens, there needs to be that nexus, that connection. If there is a policy in place and a action is taken where the public, the taxpayers, the constituents don't fully understand, could that policy just simply be rewritten? That's going to be the county position forthwith and, vote. Getting to these steps, Bluestone steps, as well as the farmer's market. I'm sitting next to a sheriff's deputy. I do fully understand public safety as well. When Mount Haven happened years ago, I think I was the only person in Pike County that stepped up forward and said, I could care less about religion, I could care less about a lot of other things. My concern was public safety. So if it's a public safety issue, okay. If it's a change in a policy with respect to public gatherings and the permits therein that we submit as citizens, it changed policy. That's all I'm asking. Commissioner Osterberg, this is not a one-on-one. Please don't even view it that way.
The policy, here's the policy, okay, and I don't want to be flippant. The policy is we have a decision to make, and the decision was that we don't feel that it's appropriate for county property to be used for this farmer's market. There's the policy. I mean, that's what we're elected to do. We make these decisions. So, and that's just our philosophy, all right? I don't believe in this, the way they're operated. And I'm not saying you can't do it. You can go to Atlantic Health parking lot, you can go to Key Foods, you can go to the Borough parking lot, you can go wherever you want to go to do this. I just don't believe in these type of projects. And I said this at the last meeting. This isn't new. When I was on the Borough Council, I had the same feeling about my position. I know you don't agree, but that's why we're here. We're not going to agree on all this. I'm telling you that's why we wrote this thing in the newspaper. I mean, it's pretty clear. I'm not upset that you're going to Key Foods. I just don't believe that I should be giving you permission to use it on county property. That was our decision. as this moved on. I said this at the very first meeting. I was reluctant, whenever it was, 3 years ago? 3 years ago, to even. I guess, we had a vote here, and I guess that was the opinion here, but, I'm willing to defend my position as to why this was put out the way it was. And I wish them the best of luck up at Key Foods or wherever else they want to go. Anyone?
It seems to be that last night there were a lot of places. People like previous Mayor Sean Stroop often would have people say, oh, we loved our breakfast, where could we go on a Sunday? Oh, well, you can go to the farmer's market, casual walk down, to see, not to buy all the time. Now, today, Liam Hutchinson, who pays rent in 4 different venues that are all bagels, doesn't compete. The one shop about vinegars and things like that, they have absolutely started to talk about in the policy of the farmers market. Whale and the cheese that you, I'm sure well know, Mr. Schmalzi from Calkins and the other cheese places. And then the most beautiful statement is some kid that learned about mushrooms because of the mushroom man there, right? You can buy one expensive mushroom, maybe cost $2, and you can learn how to just saute it with water, nothing, you know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense because that right there in a little town like this, that's 4 farmers, not to mention the beautiful non-sugary bakery from down near Stroudsburg, the lady that's been there making juices and not competing with Liam, and like a Indian crepe kind of thing. That doesn't exist in Milford. So I don't see where the data is. The brick and mortar, I'm just really surprised because every restaurant and hotel owner would be like, we've got a farmer's market you can walk to. Key Foods is a hike. It's a parking lot that needs to be repaired. I don't know if it's all borough or it's in the township.
That's not the borough, that's the township.
Yeah, so then we're gonna have to go through a whole nother process of community that maybe the people at the farmers market don't know that, I'll go with them and sit and explain. They're nice people, but we've gotta do the whole thing all over again. When honestly, when you see where Kittatinny goes, Sparta and different places, watching where they go if I've missed my share, it's amazing the amount of work. 30% of their income comes from the Milford spot. I just don't see where the data is, and that runs into doubting, the commissioners. So I just wish it had been thought about, and talked about with people, because communication in a community means commitment, compassion, and that's what we seem to be missing. Thank you.
Well, I will go ahead and concur and end this unless there's anyone else that wants to say something. Okay, so I will end this by saying, and hand this back over to the chairman, is just that I agree with Tamara to the extent that regardless of our ability to make these decisions, I would like to see in the future for certain decisions, right? Even though we have the final say, I do think giving the community a voice is critical. Even if it doesn't turn out the way that they want, I do think it is important to have these types of dialogues and have healthy discussions.
Anyone else? Kevin?
That's
We gotta have pizza. Let's get you
That's probably one of the oldest people in the room. Guys, when you grow up, especially at Miss Biggs, keep your voice. okay? Keep your voice. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. We elect, we give them the ability to engage activities on our behalf. Then we'll also have the right, with our voices, to either challenge them, accept them, support them, whatever. So please, never, ever lose your voices. You know, I don't know how much longer I have to live on this earth, but I pray God that this group of you can do that for us, okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, thanks. Nothing else? Motion to adjourn.
Now, kids.
Just pizza, don't leave.
Yes, don't
Yeah, this
leave.
was a meeting.